trade without discussing digital trade and its importance and value in the digital economy. So we hope to participate as thought leaders in that space. We met with Honorable CS at the AmCham, on the sidelines of the AmCham Summit, where we launched a paper on digital trade, and I want to thank Honorable CS for his fidelity to that. In that particular bilateral, he discussed his advocacy for digital trade and its importance, and we thank him for inviting us to take part in this conference to discuss this important topic. Thank you very much.
I'd like to confirm if Meta is here. Mercy? Okay, as she makes her way, maybe we could just invite the American Chamber to speak on behalf of our partners.
Very good morning, everybody. CS, PS, guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Maxwell Okello. I represent a network of over 200 American and Kenyan businesses that are invested in this commercial relationship between Kenya and the US. Recently, as recent as March 30th, we signed an MOU with KenInvest and the US Embassy, together with AmCham, to support and promote trade and investment between Kenya and the US. And I think this KICO conference is a perfect platform for us to start that journey and demonstrate this partnership. So I'm really glad that our members are here, including Microsoft, Meta, Tattoo, and so many others that will be participating in this. I just want to mention real quick that we will be hosting or co-hosting digital trade, AFCFTA digital trade workshop on the margins of this conference, and the objective of that particular forum is to look at the digital trade protocols under the AFCFTA, so to ensure that as a private sector, our voice, our input is actually taken into consideration in that process. So thank you very much, and looking forward to the conference. Thank you.
To the partners that have not had a chance to say something, we appreciate you. We'll create an opportunity. Okay, Mabati rolling now.
Buenos CS, Honorable CS Courier, Honorable PSS, and all our esteemed guests, good morning. Good morning. My name is Jane Dungo from Mabati Rolling Mills, one of the key operations for Safal Group. We have our wings across Africa, across 8 other countries, and we are really glad to be invited as partners for this conference because we believe that apart from investing in Kenya, there's opportunity to invest in other African countries and just show the muscle of Africa, the muscle of Kenya as a front runner in investment. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Multi-choice. Please come and say hi and tell us what you have for us.
Thank you, June. Our CS, all protocol observed. As MultiChoice, being the leading video entertainment provider in Africa, we shall be offering Signal across both DSTV and GoTV for the period of the conference, just to ensure that we are able to broadcast the entire engagement, including Madaraka Day, on TV across Africa and across all the markets that we operate in. We look forward to a great conference, and we are ready to support the government of Kenya. Thank you.
We truly appreciate you. I can see Mercy from Meta.
Good morning, everyone. Really pleased to be here as Meta representing, let me say, tech industry, and I'm sure there's others in the room. We are really keen to see how the digital trade will be supported by big tech and also other tech companies to enhance the use of online platforms for businesses to be able to leverage and scale their reach across the continent and to be able to interconnect with one another. So that's really the main reason why Meta is supportive of this process and looking forward to see how we proceed with this work. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mercy. On behalf of the CEOs here present, I would like to invite the CEO KBC.
Good morning. My name is Samuel Maina, the Managing Director KBC, Waziri Katibu, and viongozi wa private sector. We are very happy as Kenya Broadcasting Corporation to be media partner. As you know, Kenya Broadcasting Corporation is the only broadcasting house in Kenya. The others are media houses. And we are really keen to work with the Kenya government to tell the Kenyan story. The stories about trade are the most important stories. Ni kuweka pesa mfukoni. Asante.
Last but not least, it's my pleasure to invite Mr. Joshua Igora, the CEO of Stanbic, Kenya and South Sudan.
Thank you very much, June. Dr. Joshua Igora, I think I got an honor the other day, but I will. But let me say one thing. For Waziri, I don't know how many people know Moses Kuria quite well. I've worked with him many years. I've seen him work in the last few months. And it definitely deserves a combination for the work. Can we clap your hand clap for the work? If you want to catch up with him, you can try and see if you can catch up with him, Moses, and you can struggle to catch up. Yeah. So I would say well done for the work that you've done. The PS and the chair, the CEO who is here, and colleagues, Bernard and the rest. What I would say is a couple of items because of time. I represent Standard Bank here through Stanbic Kenya. And when you reflect on the three aspects, today we spoke about trade, but we speak about investment. We also speak about manufacturing or industry. These are the three aspects that really changes our markets. So Waziri, if you think about what we are bringing in this conference, and I have a chance to spend many times traveling across the continent, there isn't really any country today that you can say is ready and has got the opportunities to build investment and trade than Kenya. There is no other country. And sometimes we don't always appreciate it because we always see our lens, right? Yeah, from the southern part of Africa, Standard Bank operates, is Africa's largest bank. We operate across 21 countries, from south and the west, the north and the east. And I can assure you that this kind of conference and what we have today, we're bringing all those resources across many markets. So it's an opportunity for us. So the engagement and different partners we see today will be a good moment for us to build jobs for our younger people, to be able to enhance SME trade in our markets where we are. Africa is willing to be served by us. And I was mentioning to PS earlier that majority of our trade and volumes will have to go to the continent, Africa Free Continental Trade Area today, than what we see today as Europe or into Asian markets. So there's a lot of chance. I've attended the first two conferences in the last few years. So we're looking forward to be able to bring in our partnership, our support. We actually do connect trade across all these countries. There is no other bank on the continent. And if you either we are in Luanda today, or if you are in Maputo, or you are somewhere in Lagos, or you want to do some, you will find us, and we can give you that connection for the investors. We, on behalf of our group president, who I think would be invited to join us in the event, Sim Shebalala, I want to give you my regards, to yourself, Moses, and the team, and looking forward. So as Stanbic, we're here to give you all the support and partnership to make this event a big success. We finance investment, we finance trade, we finance industry. Thank you very much for hosting us this morning.
So I've got a chance to say, Daktari, thank you very much. Africa is ready to be served by us. Great testament. As a country, we really must embrace who we are and appreciate that the continent is looking up to us to provide leadership in investment and in the service sector. That is great inspiration right there. Without further ado, what he didn't tell us is that he's inviting top 100 Pan-African companies to join us in this conference. That would be great. You don't want to miss that opportunity. I'd like to invite the PS in charge of investment, Hassan Abubakar, to give his remarks and to invite the Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you very much, June. CS Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry, Honorable Moses Kuria, Dr. Joshua Oigara, CEO of Stanbic Bank, distinguished partners and guests, good morning. My job is just to welcome the CS, but I would like to say three things before I do that. One, I would like to thank the team which has been working on this event. When I was sworn in, the first instruction I was given by the cabinet minister was to host the ABSA 100 conference and the KICO, the Kenya International Investment Conference. And I'm happy to note that at the end of this month, we are going to realize what we have been instructed to do. Two, I would like to thank very much the team which have been meticulously planning this, the team from KenInvest, the team from the ministry, the team from the government and other non-government sectors. They have been meticulously planning this, flawlessly executing this. We have been receiving briefs and we are confident with the level of preparedness, and we are looking forward for a successful event at the end of this month. Three, I would like to thank the partners for believing in our cause, for supporting us, and inching closer to the realization of our goal. As far as the State Department of Investment is doing, we are determined to deliver on our commitments that we have put to the Kenyan people. We know we have a target, the FDI target of $10 billion US. We've been given by the CS and the President. We have recasted and retooled our investment promotion agenda into three-pronged strategies. One is investment attraction, two is investment facilitation, and three is investment enabling. Under the investment attraction strategy, this is where these forums are coming in. You cannot attract if you're not attractive. And you can also attract, even if you're attractive, people cannot be attracted to you if people do not know about your attractive features. So our first strategic initiative is to enhance our investment and business climate, which we are doing it very well. And two is to develop investment-grade investment opportunities for the people to take advantage of. So the third strategic initiative is aggressive campaign of both the investment climate and the investment-grade opportunities to the world for people to take advantage of. And that is why this hosting of these conferences, it's a platform for us to showcase the investment opportunities, the investment climate we're are having in Kenya, and an opportunity to engage with the potential and existing investors on what are our priority needs in this country and what are their interests, so that we can do the proper matching. What is their potential and what is their capacity to take advantage of the same. The message we have from the President down to us is that Kenya is open for business, and it is not only open for business but ready for business, the way Dr. Joshua has said. And we are not only open for business, but we are ready for business. We are continuously listening to the private sector to identify and address any bottlenecks in the area of investment. With those few remarks, I would like to take this opportunity to invite the Honorable Minister of Moses Kuria.
Thank you, Principal Secretary for Investment Promotion, Hassan Abubakar, our esteemed partners, the Board of Kenya Investment Authority, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I'm delighted to be here this morning, and I am extremely excited with the level of support and enthusiasm that I find here among our partners. When we took over as a new government, we identified one key problem that is facing the Kenya economy, and that is that every time we are discussing economic matters, we talk about debt, we talk about fiscal deficits,
we talk about interest rates, we talk about inflation, we talk about all the other nice, high-sounding macroeconomic indicators. But actually, I thought, and I was of the opinion, that our problem is not all that. That is the symptom. All those are symptoms. So when we talk about Kenya shillings is 130 something to the dollar. When we talk about inflation is skyrocketing. When we talk about, the budget deficit now is close to 7%. When we talk about our debt, is extremely high. Then all those are symptoms. What is the problem? The actual virus is lack of production. And I do not have to go far to realize what are really the causes of lack of production or the indicators for lack of production. One, on the area of manufacturing, the ratio of manufacturing to GDP had decreased from 9% to 7%. Exports as a ratio to GDP had dropped in 8 years only from 28% to 10%. How do you expect to be okay? How do you expect to be normal? And our foreign direct investment had stagnated at around $500 million. So these three triple viruses are what causes all the other problems which we battle every day. Yet, every day, you don't hear about them in the headlines. Neither from the media houses, nor from the broadcasting house. Instead, we hear about debt, about interest rates, about inflation, about all the other things. So, it is about time. And that is what I've been doing for the last 7 months or so that I've been Cabinet Secretary. To ask myself, how can we restart the engine of production? How can we restart the engine of manufacturing? How can we start to export again? How can we attract investment so that we can be able to create jobs? And it's been challenging but also very exciting. I want to thank all of you, and especially those who've come from quite a journey. Maxwell and Amcham, in the month of March, you hosted an extravaganza at the Amcham, and I thought that I'll try to get one goal back, and I hope June, we're going to, if not give a similar show like what we saw in March, but also try to come up with something probably better. And it was quite a challenge. I want to say that this event is not a Kenyan event. This event is an African event. When I was discussing, and I went to cabinet in way back in October, and I got approval to host an investment conference. Then at the same time, one gentleman whom I respect a lot, called Max Diop, he is the president of the IFC, and I hope, June, you've invited the IFC to join us, because Max Diop, when we had a meeting with him and with President Ruto, he challenged us and he told us, how comes, two things which are very important. One, how come when we talk about Africa integration, when we talk about the Africa Continental Free Trade Area, it is always government talking to government. Where is the private sector? Who are the real stakeholders? And I told him, I really got your challenge, When we talk about AFCFTA, it has been something similar to smiling at a girl in the darkness when governments talk to fellow governments. Now, we then said, can we then start to have the voice of the private sector within this AFCFTA discussion? And I'm very proud to say that this is the first time ever since AFCFTA was mooted that we are going to have the private sector, and not just the private sector, but the cream de la cream of the private sector in Africa talking to the government. I think that's a very unique development, and I think Kenya deserves some clap for that. Let's clap for Kenya. And I'm sure that I hope June Maktar will be joining us, and if not physically, virtually, because he'll be very proud to see that within 5 months we took his challenge and we ran with it. Now, why Africa? These are very important. I am very convinced that the only growth remaining for the world is in Africa. Yeah? And I said during the AmCham, going forward, there is going to be only 2 categories of businesses. Category number 1 are businesses that are going to be in Africa. And category number 2 are businesses that are going to be extinct. And I still start with that. So either you're in Africa or you are going to be extinct. And why not? 1.3 billion people, population. By 2050, this population will be rising to 2.5 billion people. 1 out of every 4 humans by that time will be an African. I look forward, and I actually want us to start thinking, should we maybe change our passports and our IDs so that instead of starting with country, Kenya, county, Murang'a, district, Gatanga, I'm not talking about you minor, but we start with continent, Africa, so that we can be truly, truly, truly proud African. And we should be proud. By 2050, even now as we speak, if Africa was a country, it will be the same population as China. Can you imagine that? We will be rivaling with China in terms of who has the highest population. And you know, China will not be lucky because even some of their nationals are now called Mutua. So in terms of those numbers, you can see, even by migration, a lot of Chinese people will be migrating to Africa. And I think my friend here, William Mutua, is a vivid example. And you know, economists are all about population. I really want to ask those people who are there when we are doing this Kupanga Uzazi. Those people are not very good people. I think they misread us. Because today if you look at G20, if you look at G20 countries, half of the countries in G20 are there not because of industry, not because of resources, but because of just population. You know, and that's why they are in G20. I was in Indonesia the other week. Indonesia is number 15 economy in the world with a $1.8 trillion, similar equivalent to the entire Africa GDP. Why? Because they have made the best use of the 300 million people in population. So let us embrace population, and let nobody comes again with that kind of misguided program as Kupanga Uzazi. You know, because by now, you know, even Kenya could be in G20. Yeah? Why it's not for those people who came and gave us that Kupanga Uzazi? And I know I have got my friends from GIZ here, and I'm sure, truly sure you understand what I mean, that, you know, the next competitive item, the next competitive arena for world economies is going to be on the size of markets. That's why, as a country, as Kenya, we have identified AFCFTA not as just somewhere you join because of a shared identity. We are joining there not because of our identity, but because of our interest. It is of our utmost interest that Kenya participate in a very strong, integrated Africa Continental Free Trade Area. When we were in Addis Ababa, some 2-3 months back, I did challenge the Secretary General of AFCFTA, His Excellency Wamkele Meni. And I told Wamkele, you know, we have taken so much time in all this planning and ratification, exchanging offers, and, you know, a lot of what I would call motion without movement. Can we now have some movement to add to the motion? And I said, let us meet and say after all that, because now we have got a critical mass, only 4 or so countries have not ratified AFCFTA. All the RECs, all the regional economic councils, like East African Community, have now placed their tariff offers. South Africa, Custom Union, SACU, was the most problematic because a lot of consensus required in that particular block. They just offered their tariff offers. So what next? Are we going to plan until the next millennium? And I said, let's meet and say, where is now our implementation matrix for the AFCFTA? And he told me, let's look for a country to host us. And I said, no, Kenya will host. I didn't even have an idea whether I was committing my country without approval from my government. But I said, what is wrong with trying anyway? And so I came and cabinet, ratified my offer and said let's combine this planning session for the AFCFTA with our KICO, our investment conference, and let's have that new way of looking at it, that every private sector event in Africa also brings together the government. So I'm very happy with this government to private sector partnership. I always say that if I was to be asked to choose what your ministry should be called, I would say investment, trade and industry is too wordy, and I will request one day that I am simply called the cabinet secretary, the ministry of the private sector, because I am actually the champion of the private sector, and it is my responsibility to ensure that we have got a thriving private sector, and to ensure that we are going to have a private sector-led economy. We used to have those creatures in the speeches in the 90s, that the private sector is the engine of growth. I don't know what happened to this engine, because the growth has not happened. And this is really also my challenge to you. When we were coming up with the criteria, we sat with the team from Standard Bank sometimes in November, and we said, I wanted to have only those companies with more than 5 countries presence in Africa. Believe you me, we didn't find 10. Not more than 10 companies have got presence in more than 5 countries. And this is really a shame of Africa. I think this is a conversation we need to have with the private sector. How come everybody is in their village? With 1.3 billion people market, African companies, everybody is a king in their own corner. Everybody is an Olympics swimmer in their bathtub. And they call themselves champions. We really need to grow out there. And we need to expand. We need to be in more countries. I want to recognize companies like Standard Bank, 20, how many countries, Joshua? 22 countries. EcoBank, 30-something countries. Yet here, even some of our big companies here in Kenya, you'll only find that the biggest Kenyan company is in how many countries? 10, 7, 2, 1. We are not going to, we need to have a conversation. No, we cannot. We cannot. And I want to ask all of us really to face that reality, that how can we, why do I not find, East African breweries, Kenya breweries, when I'm passing by the streets of Togo? Why are we not there? How come Anglophone Africa talks only to Anglophone Africa? How come Francophone Africa only talks to Francophone Africa? How come East only talks to East and West only talks to West? Can we build strong East pillar, strong West pillar, strong South pillar, strong North pillar, and then we have some connecting beams that connect between all these? We are really losing it when we become parochial villagers. It is good to be a villager, but you are not destined to be a villager forever. Let's get our businesses out of the village. Let us get out there. And this really, I want to really thank Maxwell and AmCham because of the forum and the platform you gave us and the U.S. Chamber when we went to the U.S. to really think that for example, within the U.S., you have Meta here, you have Microsoft here. You look at the companies, but here, I sometimes go on trips. All the time I'm traveling, and I try to go with the private sector, and maybe it is the nature of our business management organization. I find in my entourage people who don't even have business cards. You can't even they cannot show you where the offices are, and that is why I have challenged my principal secretary to work on a law, we are working on a law which must be presented to cabinet within the next 30 days. Sit down, thank you. This is a Kenya National Chamber law. We are going to have the chamber, the Kenya Chamber. I'm not talking about the various configurations as they are. That is truly reflective of Kenyan business. A chamber which even Stanley can say, I'm proudly a member. A chamber which even Facebook has to say that I am proudly a member of the Kenyan Chamber. A chamber that can be of equal footing with the US Chamber, with the AmCham, with the Chinese Chamber, with the European Business Council. We really put our businesses there because people, let us be organized. If you don't get organized, there is no way to help you. And the way to help you is to organize you in something that you can feel proud. So in the chamber law, it is going to be mandatory for every registered business in Kenya to be a member of the chamber. It is not going to be a choice. It is going to be mandatory. And some people are going to start crying, now this is going to increase the cost of doing business. What? How now? How? If you think that belonging to, or paying for subscription by mandatory to be a member of chamber is expensive, try to be an employee. Who has stopped you? Yeah? But we are going to have organized businesses. We are going to have businesses that when we talk about the Kenyan Chamber, it is not about self-interest of this person and that person. It is not going to be about briefcase businesses. It is going to be businesses that can speak for Kenya and that can earn us the respect that we deserve. And so that in that chamber, we can start to have a conversation of why is everybody so comfortable with being small and medium. Kenya is going to be at the next haven for small and medium businesses, and I'm doing everything possible to create a very good environment for small and medium businesses. But that should not be the end of our aspiration. We should aspire to grow. We should aspire to be continental. We should aspire to be global. M-Pesa is a global brand, but is it a global company? That's a conversation we need to have. That's the best of our businesses. They look so big from here, but if they are big enough, I don't want to say if they are men enough or women enough, let us also go out there and compete in the world arena, because we have whatever it takes. We have all what it takes to be big businesses. So in this respect also, let me announce that we are going to be working with the World Bank and partners, and I know GIZ is here and World Bank is going to have this conversation with you to come up with a pool for business growth finance for the small and medium businesses, so that we can do this scale up. Because if we have to do scale up of our businesses, then it is imperative that we provide business capital for them. Kenya and Africa, in the West, even in China, if you have a good idea, what do? You think this idea is marvelous, it is unique, you go and hire a good manager. You hire a good manager. Then what do? Then you go to either a bank or a venture capitalist or private equity, and you tell them, hey, You give that money to the manager, and they build for you a good enterprise. That is the secret behind the growth of the West, especially. That is the secret behind the growth of China and other continents. What about here in Africa? If you have a good idea, you are expected also to be a good manager by yourself. Okay? And then also, you are expected to be very rich, so that you can also fund your business. So you are the financier, you are the manager, and you are also the vision carrier. You are the creator, all in one. That's why I say it's only in Africa you expect somebody to be handsome, rich, and they sing well. It is not possible. In other countries, you have to have one. Yeah? So what we are going to do in this country also, and I hope hopefully in Africa, is to create structures so that when you have a good idea, somebody else provides good management. And yet somebody provides business finance. So I want to ask GIZ and all the other partners, even the corporates, to really support our what we are calling Kenya Jobs and Economic Transformation KJET program, which we are going to be launching with the World Bank very, very soon, so that we can also be able to pull together money, resources. And I'm not talking about small money, big money, a lot of money, so that anybody who would want to start their own business or to scale up their existing business, we are able to de-risk them, to pull them. And also, another thing is that as a country, we've been expecting partners to come in here, go to our villages, identify businesses from our villages, fund our businesses. As a government, we've been sleeping on the job because we've not made the work easier for our partners. So we are coming with a difference now. We are going to work on our businesses, profile our businesses, make our businesses ready to be supported. If you want to be supported, you must be ready for that particular support. And I think that now you're going to see a lot of economic activity when we start providing business capital, either for startups or growth capital, so that we stop becoming just village businesses. I am challenging businesses to grow and to scale up, but I am also doing something about it. We are leveling the business environment. You heard all the changes that President Ruto announced during the AMCHA, but also I am going out of the way to provide business capital, to provide finance, so that I tell you, Sasa Wewe, what is your excuse? Money is here, market is here, the whole of Africa is here. Why wouldn't you grow? Why would you remain a small company? And also, I want to challenge the private sector, or the private sector in this country, to really take the issue of our youth seriously. We are working with a number of partners to launch, which I'll be launching in June, in the national private sector internship program. The government has challenged us. The government recently, through the Ministry of Public Service, launched an internship program for the public sector. The one we are going to launch for the private sector will be one of a kind. I expect every company, when you come here, to have a badge saying how many people have you offered internships. Joshua, you can give me that commitment today. Yeah? And by the way, I do not want to hear that story of people asking for incentives to do what is right. This is the right thing to do. It is a moral thing to do. We cannot make it an issue of, oh, give me tax incentive, give me this, give me that. This is our country. Most important thing, this is your market. Yeah? As we do all these things, I am expecting the private sector to rise to the occasion and realize that it is not an act of charity. It is your market. These are your customers. If you doubt that, ask us to go, all of us Kenyans, 54 million, to go visiting Uganda today. Who are you going to sell to? This, at least, let that young man or woman come to your company for 1 year. Pay them just kidogo stipend, yeah, for that 1 year. So that in the second year, even if you don't have work for them, they will be able to apply for a job and say, 1 year. Internship program, stand big. So that person is much better, is much more employable than if they are somewhere in Katanga, where mine come from. Yeah, waiting and just writing it. I remember the, in those days, we used to, there was no where to type application letters. So when I left the university, we used to go job hunting. And how you do job hunting is that you write a letter on a foolscap, and then you write to the banks. You say Leo nisikuya banks, or Leo nisikuya something else. So how I got a job in a bank is that day I had like five letters written to the managing director. Then you leave a space, bank, house eminigani, PO box you leave, then you say like the same one. So that when you now start going around, you see Stanbic, you say, oh, Stanbic Bank. And so one day I just saw a logo there, Standard Chartered Bank. I said, I developed my application, and the following day I was offered a job. Yeah, because things were much easier that time, especially if you had the right qualification. But not so today. And I think, Joshua, private sector, please, I really ask you for your support to make the private sector internship program work. And I have a target of 500,000 internships. You can give that by yourself, then I can raise a target. But we must put 500,000 Kenyans into internship program. We can do it if all of us come by. And please, the next meeting, June, is only for companies that are participating in the internship program, because those are the responsible corporate citizens that we need to have. So I welcome you next week, and I want to thank you for the support you've given. June has said that the event starts at 7, but she has made another mistake to say that the president will arrive at 7:30. The president, I had now to WhatsApp you to say what has changed. The president has reaffirmed that he will be there at 6:59 a.m. Yeah. Because Kenya is open for business, and as Joshua said, Kenya is ready for business, and I'm very happy to see Meta Group also participating. I want to end with a small story about Facebook, about Microsoft, and I want to give a story about Bill Gates. So one time, Bill Gates was hiring the managing director for Microsoft Eastern Europe. And he called people for an interview, and 10,000 people turned up. And he was wondering, how do I reduce this number of 10,000 people to get one candidate? So he asked the first question. He said, if you've never managed 5,000 people, get out of here. And half of the people, 5,000 people left. There was left 4,999 people, plus one guy called Kamau from Kenya. And Kamau has never managed anybody in his life. But Kamau said, anyway, what do I have to lose by just staying around? Let me stay. So Kamau and 4,999 others stayed. And Bill Gates still thought this crowd is too big. It needs to be managed. He said, I'll go to the next question. And he asked them, this region, the dominant language is Serbian. So if you don't speak Serbian, get out of here. And everybody left except 2 people. Kamau and one more person. Kamau reasoned, I don't know what even is Serbian. But why do I lose by staying? I'll just try my luck. So Kamau, Bill Gates was so happy with himself. He said, my 2 questions, I have left only 2 people. This must be surely the right candidate. I'm even going to think of splitting this job into 2, so that each of them get a job. He told them, I'm so proud of you, now can you speak in Serbian to each other? Kamau said, oh my God, my day has come. Kimeshikana. So Kamau said in Kikuyu language, Kohana tia modo wa nyumba. Then the other guy replied, Gotiri now. That is the Kenyan spirit of trying. Let us keep trying that.
Let's appreciate Waziri again. Thank you very much, Waziri. We want to go to the last part of this event, and that's why we would like this podium to be removed. We want to call the partners who are here, who are ready to bring their support. June, please come. We start with Stanley to hand over their check. Waziri and PS, please come up. And chair the board. Escort for Stanley. That's 5 million Kenya shillings. Thank you very much. Watu wa picha mmemaliza. Asante. Thank you. Next is GIZ. Venom, come closer. GIZ, thank you very much. GIZ, 8 million. Venom, uko karibu. Venom, 10 million Kenya shillings. Thank you very much. So we call all the supporters up here for the final photo. Amcha, we thank you. We have received your support. Stanley and GIZ, please come back for the final photo. Stanley and GIZ. June, join them. Thank you very much.
Let me also announce another sponsor who will not be here because they are traveling. But Equity Bank has sponsored a partnership that we are signing with the CNN to the first Invest in Kenya 1-year program. CNN, probably sponsored by Equity Bank, at the cost of $1.1 million. Now, it's my pleasure to announce the Kenya Investment Conference 2023 and the private sector dialogue with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement officially open.
Thank you very much. Asanteni, Waziri, thank you very much, and PS. The others, you can enjoy breakfast. Waziri, we permit you to leave. Thank you.